Hey guys, happy Wednesday. Welcome to week 3 of the quarantine here in New York. Where are you guys joining me from? I'd love to hear where you're watching from. Hope all is well by you. Crazy times now. I wanted to do a video today specifically about metabolic flexibility, metabolic health, metabolic disease. Number one, because it's an important topic, but number two, and here's the one crossover that I'm going to make, because I'm trying to be very careful about not saying anything, eat this way for COVID-19 or anything like that, because the truth is this is such a new virus that anyone that's speaking that way is disillusioned, or they are, trying to make money off of this whole thing. And I don't think either one of those things is a good idea. However, what we can say is that there are certain things that you can just continue to do or try to improve your overall health anyway, regardless of this virus, right? And at the same time, we do know that this virus seems to be particularly harmful for those who have underlying health conditions. A lot of these chronic diseases that are lifestyle diseases, right? Diseases that have built up over time. And the good news there is that a lot of these are things that we can actually take back some control over. So that's amazing. I like when I feel like things are just so totally out of control, like they are right now, then I really enjoy trying to focus on the things that we do have some power over or some control over, because it sort of gives us a direction to go, and it makes us feel like what we do actually matters. And not only does that allow us to move forward one foot in front of the other and see some results and make some changes, but also in other areas of our life, then it sort of feels more balanced. It doesn't feel like everything is out of control, because we feel like we've got these little pockets of things that we can control. So the things that are out of control, then all of a sudden from a mindset point of view, just feel a little bit better, if that makes sense. Hey Swan, thanks for watching. Okay, metabolic disease. So what am I talking about? If you have excess belly fat, if you have elevated cholesterol or triglycerides, elevated blood sugar, insulin resistance, PCOS, you've been told you have prediabetes or diabetes before, anything like that would put you into that general bucket of having metabolic disorder, okay? And again, what's great about that is that there's a lot of things that you can do to improve it at any time. Wherever you're at right now, there are things that you can do to improve this. Quick background in case we haven't met. By the way, I'm Tara. I'm a registered nurse and health coach, nutritionist, and personal trainer. I am somebody who had PCOS and prediabetes, so I fall into this metabolic disease bucket. I used to. And while my doctors wanted me to take medications, I'm not advising you to go against what your doctors say, but I wasn't comfortable with that. I felt that I knew, with my background, I knew enough about this disease process to be able to make some changes naturally with my lifestyle in order to be able to overcome this. So while PCOS is not something that you're supposed to be able to put into remission, so to speak, it was something that I was able to do. I feel very fortunate for that. So right now, I'm no longer diagnosable as having PCOS or prediabetes. I'm going to talk about some of those things right now. I'm going to try to really get to the point here and not make this video too wordy. But basically, the reason that cholesterol comes into play here as well, a lot of people don't tie the cholesterol or triglycerides into the whole blood sugar scenario, but it's very much tied together. It's basically an excess of energy in your body, and we have an ability to sort of switch energy back and forth quite a bit. We do it all the time. Our bodies do it for us all the time. So when you have an excess of one certain kind of energy, your body, if it can't store it in that form, it will change it over to a different form and store it. So in other words, if your blood sugar is too high, too elevated, and it runs out of room to be able to store it in that form, it can convert it over and store it as triglycerides. That's actually your elevated fat in your blood, basically. So it can be triglycerides, or it can be excess cholesterol. It can be stored as body fat. All right. So it's not just that it's one path or another. It can actually jump paths. Focusing specifically on blood sugar, we have the stored version of carbs or sugar in our body is called glycogen. 80% of the glycogen in our body is stored in our muscles, okay? All throughout our muscles in our body. And about 20% is stored in our liver. Now, when our muscles are depleted or partially depleted of glycogen, our liver is able to spill some out, and so it can go to those muscles to refuel them. Oh, good. So I'm glad you're enjoying this. So 80% in our muscles, 20% in our liver. Our liver can replenish from our muscle, and that's how our liver glycogen stores then are able to be decreased. I like to think of it this way. If your muscles are full of glycogen and your liver is full of glycogen, it's 100% full, right? Your bucket is 100% full. So now when you onboard carbs, you onboard sugar, anything like that, it could be fruit, it could be a sweet potato, it could be Oreos or chips, it doesn't matter, bread, pasta, anything in the carbohydrate category, you're ready, your bucket's 100% full. Where is that going to go? It is going to spike up your blood sugar. It is going to be change over to triglycerides and cholesterol and be stored as body fat, okay? Because you're not giving it any room. So one big tip here, and if you watch me on Instagram and my stories, and now a lot on my feed as well, and even in my highlights, I do at-home free workout videos for you guys all the time. What's funny is that I actually think that what we eat matters a lot more than our fitness and certainly the kind of fitness that we choose to do, but nobody wants to watch videos of me eating every day. I just can't see myself turning on a video and being like, hey guys, I'm eating breakfast. Hey guys, it's lunchtime, right? So I'm kidding a little bit. I do share some of what I eat and what I feed my kids. But just to say that while you see me working out all the time, it's really what we put in our body in the form of food that matters the most when it comes to this, okay? But what I am going to say is that the way that you can make yourself more metabolically flexible, okay? I'm not into a ketogenic diet for most people most of the time. It's not something that I practice. And you might think, but Tara, you know, your body is basically not handling carbs well, right? With the PCOS and the prediabetes that you had, your body's just not handling carbs well. Well, yes. But I don't want to then remove the carbs entirely, right? Because number one, they come with some benefits like vitamins and minerals and fiber, you know, prebiotics for the gut microbiome and things that are important. But number two, all I'm doing is removing my body's ability to become more resilient, right? So it's sort of like, I don't want a life free of challenge. I don't want to remove all the challenges out of my life so that my life is great. I'd rather become stronger and more resilient to be able to deal with the challenges that I have. And so it's the same thing for my body. I want my body to get really metabolically flexible, really good at being able to handle different types of fuel. Now, does that mean that I'm going to go and eat 500 grams of carbohydrates in one day? No, of course not. That's not going to be good for most people. It doesn't match my activity levels, and it's just not something that I need. But I will have carbs sometimes. I might not have it at every single meal, but I have it sometimes. And so the way that I can sort of wrap my mind around all of that, the way I can make that all work is that I remember that when I exercise, when I move my body and work my muscles, I'm depleting that glycogen, some of it, from my muscles. So I'm draining the bucket. I drain the bucket. My bucket's not totally at 100% full anymore. And so now when I take on some carbs, I have some fruit, I have a sweet potato, I have, you know, gluten-free bread occasionally just because I want a treat or something like that, you know. I have other treats. I'll eat chocolate or something like that. I'm not totally boring. But if I want something like that, it's not that my bucket is going to overflow now, right? Because I'm not at 100% anymore where all of that is going to have to be stored in my blood as blood sugar, or it's going to be stored as body fat, or it's going to, you know, raise my triglycerides, raise my cholesterol. No, because I've drained the bucket by working out, by using up some of that glycogen that's stored in my muscles, and therefore also the liver, because the liver will donate to the muscles once the muscles get a little bit lower. So I'm draining the bucket, I'm leaving some space, and now I've got some room to onboard some carbs. If I didn't move my body at all, if I was completely sedentary, guys, I would not be able to eat very many carbs at all. I wouldn't expect myself to be able to. Why? Because I'm not using it up. If it's just being stored and I'm not using it, where's it going to go? So I think just a little bit of knowledge sometimes about how things work inside our bodies can be the thing that reminds us, like, oh, I don't know if I really need those extra carbs with my meal today. I haven't moved yet. I haven't drained the bucket at all. So I don't really necessarily need them right now. Okay. So this is obviously highly individualized for you, your age, your size, your goals, definitely your activity levels. That's the biggest one. Your activity levels are a big a variable that will determine how many carbs you can tolerate. So all of this to say that if you have metabolic syndrome or you know somebody that does, now is a good time to be trying to get that in check, okay? We should be getting this in check anyway all the time, right? Because we have some control over it. But in particular with what's going on, if we want to be more as resilient as possible as we can be to this virus or anything else, any other virus, the flu, a common cold or whatever, right? Having metabolic disorder of any sort is going to make us more likely to be a victim of anything. So this is a good time. And the good news is that when you make some little changes, these things can really have a compounding effect over, the course of even just weeks, months. You can really make a big difference, okay? So since we're going to be in this thing for a long time and your routine is different now, this is a good time to sort of layer on some new habits, some good habits, change some bad habits. Think about it this way. Move your body, exercise your muscles in whatever way is challenging to you. It doesn't matter how many reps you do. It doesn't matter the amount of weight that you use or exactly. What matters is that you're doing something that's challenging your muscles. Because if it's challenging to your muscles, then your muscles are going through that glycogen. You're draining the bucket. You're saving yourself some more room for some of those carbs to come on board. And obviously try to choose the healthier, the smarter carbs more often, the ones that are going to bring the fiber and vitamins and minerals and things like that. But we're all human. We're not going to eat, clean all of the time, and that's fine. This is going to help also to give you some room to onboard the occasional treat or whatever that you want to have as well. Okay? So metabolic disorder, something that we can take control over. We should feel empowered with that. Exercise your body, move every day, okay? Go for a walk, go up and down the stairs. Resistance training is the most important thing. So anything with weights or resistance band or just body weight stuff like squats or whatever, that's going to help. And then try to reduce the amount of crap you eat. You know that. Try to save the carbs that you do eat for the smarter carb choices, okay? With the treats occasionally, but not all the time, not every single day. And then a third tip for you today is to give yourself some time overnight for your body to process everything. So if you're not going at least 12 hours without eating overnight, now is a good time to try it. So say that from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., I'm not going to eat anything. Give your body some time to do all of that cellular cleanup work that it does overnight, which is so important. So your body will take cells that are no longer functioning and throw them out, which is important for us in cancer prevention and things like that. I'm not saying that this is 100% going to prevent cancer. Can't say anything like that. But it is known that when your cells are dividing out of control, your immune system will often take care of that if given enough space and time to do so. So at least it's going to increase your odds. So that's always good, right? So overnight fast of at least 12 hours or so. I wouldn't push it too much right now. We're all at a higher stress level. Our cortisol is all a little bit elevated right now collectively, like as a globe. And if you push the overnight fast too much right now, you're going to elevate your cortisol even more, and that's going to have some negative ramifications. So I wouldn't try to go and do some kind of a crazy extended fast right now, but certainly 12 hours, 13 hours, 14 hours should be fine for most people if you don't have any other, if you don't have really those blood sugar swings that you have to be careful about. Obviously, check with your healthcare provider first. I can't be telling you what to do. These are just some of the things that I do to make sure that I stay metabolically flexible. Hope that helped. I hope that wasn't too much in too short of a video, but of course, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I will always come back and answer them. I hope you guys stay well. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.